Hello, beautiful specimen, and welcome back to my channel, or to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a look for, Valentine's Day. I don't know if all of you remember those little, sweetheart, that have the XOs on them and the Be Mine, those hearts. It's gonna be that. And I am here with Ray again. And without further ado, let's get into it.
Am I the a-hole for not wanting to do anything for my ex's unborn child?
Okay.
I, 24M, have a son, 5, with my ex, Haley, 24F. We broke up 3 years ago and we share custody of our son. Our relationship was bad before we broke up. I could never do anything right. Haley wanted to stay home with our son, so I worked extra hard to provide for us, but then she accused me of trying to keep her at home all the time by staying at work so late. If I took our son for the day, she'd accuse me of trying to come between them, but then if I spent time with him on and off throughout the day, she'd accuse me of not being involved enough. She didn't like my cooking, but complained when I didn't make more food. She's also... trying to figure out how to word that one.
Where?
P-word. She's also...
Annoyed.
Annoyed, okay. I was like, I've not had that word yet. When she told me a single parent would deal with work and getting up with a kid, so I could. But if she wanted to go somewhere in the morning, I better make sure I was there and waking up. It didn't matter that I was working crazy long hours, so she didn't have to work. She told me to be a real man. She also hated that I wouldn't spend time with her family, but she always made crap up to them, so they hated me. Like I could be feeding our son or playing with him, and I was such an a-hole for taking the baby from his mom, according to the family. Or because I was playing with our son, I was a lazy bum who never worked and wanted their poor daughter/sister to work. I broke up with her because it wasn't healthy and only got worse. Her family told me they were glad she was finally done with a piece of crap like me and she could do much better. This is the most this story has cussed this entire time. A few months after we broke up, she started dating this other guy. And then she wanted me out of our son's life and she tried to file for sole custody, stating I didn't deserve to be a dad and I wasn't a good one. Her family all said I was a poor character and would not be a good influence on my son. The judge told them she should have chosen a different father, and our son had the right to a relationship with me. 50-50 was maintained. My ex had her boyfriend threaten me twice, and I reported him to the cops both times, which got him a pretty strong warning the second time since I recorded him at my door. They broke up 7 months ago because my ex is pregnant and he doesn't want a kid. For the past month, she's been asking me to take her son on as my own. She sent me scanned photos. She sent me photos of our son and a big brother to be sure. She sent baby photos of our son, saying her son could be a mini version of him and how he deserves a dad like our son has. Hi, Vina. What you doing?
If the camera's shaky at all, it's because my cat is walking around
Behind
what this is on, sitting on.
She told me it would be cruel to have one with the dad and the other rejected by his, especially when it's a baby being rejected. I told her I wasn't going to raise her son and tie myself to her more. I told her she needs to find someone who'll be good.
What are you doing? Vina. Here's my cat, by the way. There you go.
I told her she needs to find someone who will be good to the both of the boys and focus on that, or just be a good mom and trust her son will be fine without a dad. Her family tried to convince me, but whenever I see them and they try this, I ignore them and walk on without acknowledging them. The change since I was the worst influence ever when it was our son is startling. The other night, my ex
You're gonna
called
get
me.
stuck.
The other night, my ex called me at 3 a.m. and I freaked out thinking something was wrong with our son. But instead she was crying and worrying about her son and saying she needs me, or saying he needs me. I made it clear I'm not doing anything for our second child and she's on her own with him. I told her he will never be my son or my family and she needs to let it go. Ever since that call, her texts are angry instead of pleading, and we're back to me being the worst. Am I the a-hole for my stance?
Oops. Now, I mean, they have joint custody, don't they?
With their one son.
Yes.
Which is their only kid.
And if the other one's not his kid, girl, you need to choose whether you want to be in or out.
I mean, it's fine to have the door open a little bit, that way she can choose.
She's gonna shut it.
If she shuts it, that's on her.
But they have split custody of their actual son, and is she trying to, like, get him to have custody of the other son, too? Is that what I was hearing?
They broke up. Their son's 5. And then she got with someone a few months after. She got pregnant with the other person. And the person left her because he doesn't want kids. So
that's her own fault,
the ex
then.
is trying to have the OP be the dad of that kid, too.
No.
Even though she told her family that he's not a good dad, he's a piece of crap, he's lazy, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, no.
Ain't my responsibility, is how I'd say it.
Nope. She can get child support from the other one, that's good enough.
Yeah. Am I the a-hole? For telling my mom that I would never trust her with my future relationships. I, 26M, told my mom, 67F, about a year ago that I could not trust her when it comes to any future relationships. My mom and I had been talking about a trip where I had met a woman. My mom then asked if there was any plans for her to visit so she can meet her. I decided to be upfront and told her I wasn't sure if I would introduce anyone to her. When she asked why, I told her that due to how she had treated my last partner, I did not feel I could trust her with any future partners. She went to her room in tears. I've gone on so many dates since then and never mentioned any of them to my mom. She thinks I haven't dated anyone for the last 4 years. In reality, she is simply the only one I don't tell. I do tell my dad and sisters, asking they do not share with mom. Now, for some context on mom's behavior in that long-term relationship. I dated Amy, fake name, for 6+ years. Mom was great in the first year, showing interest in Amy and trying to bond with her. After that first year, Amy was kicked out of her family's house and my dad let her move into my room without charging us anything. Mom and dad lived separately. Amy lived in my room for about 8 months until she moved out. The whole time my mom complained about everything Amy did or did not do, at first. She only complained to me, but then moved on to complaining to Amy herself. The complaining became such an issue that Amy and I decided she was better off getting her own place, where I soon joined after. After moving out, my mom found other things to complain about. She blamed Amy for us moving out, and also being the reason we were barely able to afford renting a place. She started making comments about how Amy was gaining weight to our faces. We both were due only affording cheap food. Called her a druggie to me when she overheard my sister and Amy talking about weed, and a faker when she got injured in an accident and couldn't work. Eventually escalated to the point where, due to my mom's disrespect, I told her to stay away from Amy and I. Here's the worst incident. Amy joined me to help my dad unload some furniture. We were surprised to find my mom also there. At one point, I left Amy with my mom for about 30 seconds to help my dad. When I came back, my mom had an oddly large grin on her face while Amy sat silent. After we left, Amy burst into tears. She told me she couldn't tell me what my mom had said to her, as she didn't want to ruin the relationship between my mom and I. Half a decade later, I still don't know what was said. Amy was not perfect, but my mom had crossed the line multiple times. We tried to talk to my mom about respecting Amy, and even want no contact with her due to her behavior. The problem is that my mom is in the early stages of dementia. She retains most of her memory, but many of the situations I mentioned she claimed didn't happen. This makes holding her accountable a problem. That's the end.
Dementia's difficult, but I don't blame him for not saying anything. I also don't know why this part right here is, like, excessively colored. Perks of the tape, I guess.
I was reading comments. That confused me. Sorry.
What?
So someone commented asking a question. Hold on. So someone asked, if your mom and dad lived separately and your dad offered to have Amy in your room with you at his place, then how would the mom know anything about Amy was or wasn't doing? Even though they live separately, my parents are still together. Normally one visits the other on the weekend, so my mom is there semi-frequently. What's the point of living separately if you guys are together? That's too much money coming out.
Yeah, I don't quite understand that, but to each their own, I suppose. I should have brought a Q-tip.
Yeah, that's just too much. I understand if, like, it's a vacation home and everything else.
Yeah, but constantly living separate is interesting to me.
Unless it's something like what you have to, but...
I don't know. But it doesn't sound like they live far from each other either. So, I don't know.
Yeah, no, the OP thought that his mom was deciding on what to forget and what not to forget.
I mean...
Because I don't know anyone with dementia. I don't have grandparents, so...
Early stages, there are some things that you can forget and other things that you don't forget. You tend to lose short-term memory before long-term memory. So, it's really hard to say.
Am I wrong for telling my wife that our daughter is too old for her to be bathing with her? My wife, 36F, still insists on taking baths with our daughter, 11F, every night. Her reasoning being that our daughter is the worst hair washer in the world and she can't wash her hair right on her own. So my wife insists on taking the bath with her.
How old is this kid? Hold on.
11.
11? Okay.
And says she will continue until our daughter can wash her hair properly on her own. This is starting to seem a bit weird to me. I don't think it's a bad thing, I just think our daughter might be getting too old for it. Tonight my wife asked our daughter if she wanted to take the bath before or after dinner. My daughter said before, so my wife said, alright, then we would take our bath right now, head upstairs, and I'll be there in a minute. My daughter said, okay, and went upstairs. This was when I, 39M, asked my wife if she didn't think our daughter was too old to be taking baths with her. My wife looked at me and kind of funny and said, no, I don't see a problem with it. I asked if she was sure, and she replied, yeah, I'm sure, there's nothing wrong with it, don't be silly. She gave me a smile and went upstairs to take the bath. I still am not sure if she's too old for this. I've asked my daughter and she doesn't mind. My wife is fine with it and says it saves time and water. Anyway, so there's no harm. But I still think maybe she's just too old for it. I'd also think maybe I'm just making a big deal of something that isn't a problem.
I mean, it's not really a problem. If they're both fine with it. Should she be able to shower by herself by now? Yeah, but... I mean, there's no harm.
There's no harm, but, like... Let's say...
You're not giving her any independence.
Well, there's that, but also it would be weird if, let's say, it was the dad taking baths with their daughter still at 11 years old.
This is a terrible heart, but it's fine. It depends. It depends on the family dynamic.
There's other ways to work around washing the hair of the kid.
That's what swimsuits are for.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, there's other ways to work around that part.
It also depends on if the kid in itself is like, this is a really bad heart. Whatever.
Now, if the kid has, like, a disability...
That's what I was trying to get on, yeah.
But it doesn't say anything that it does, like, they do or don't.
I mean, everyone's gonna do what they're gonna do anyways, so I don't really see a problem with it if they're both fine with it, and it does save water.
That part, yeah. Alright, am I the a-hole for answering simple questions my wife texted? That's perfect for you. M50 dating F47 for 2 years and questioning what is acceptable behavior on answering a question my ex-wife had about medication she wanted to take. I was married to ex-wife for 19 years. We divorced a little over 3 years ago. We were separated almost a year prior to that. We had 5 kids together, and the younger 2 kids that are in high school still live at the house with their mom. I am a physician, and I left some antibiotics at my ex's house in case kids get sick. My ex texted me to see if she could take the antibiotics for herself since she has been sick all week. She asked a question and nothing else. I responded that is fine. She responded back, okay, thanks. I informed my girlfriend about it to let her know what happened, and she became angry and canceled our plans for the today. I am wondering if my behavior is unacceptable. My ex and I are cordial, but we are not overly friendly with each other since I had to set several boundaries with her since I entered my relationship with my current girlfriend. My ex is the one that wanted the divorce, and although I was hurt and angry initially, I got through it and made peace with it. I eventually moved on and met my current girlfriend. My GF and I get along really well and are compatible on so many levels. But she cannot stand my ex, and she feels that my ex has tried to cause problems in our relationship, like still reach out to me to help with rides for kids or ask a medical question. Most of this has stopped with boundaries that were established, but every now and then, something like that text asking about medicine happens, and it all goes to poop. I am not trying to do anything wrong, and I have zero romantic feelings for my ex. I responded because I try to be a decent human being and try and help people when I'm able to. I also don't want my kids to think I treated their mom in a bad manner. Am I unresponsible for responding to the question my ex asked about medicine?
No. If most of what you're talking about is for the kids and it just happened to be there and that was for the kids specifically, but you've been sick, there is nothing wrong with asking.
He's also a licensed physician.
Exactly.
So she was probably making sure, like, hey, am I able to take this meds or only for kids?
Well, yeah, it was meant for the kids, but with how sick she's been and it wasn't getting better, because it was meant for the kids, I would hope that she would ask.
But I'm saying, like, if it was, like, for instance, like, kids' medicine, it's lower dosage than adult medicine.
Well, yeah, I'm just...
So she was probably trying to ask, like, is this an okay dosage or whatever?
Yeah, but if I was her, I wouldn't take something that was for the kids that was gotten by the other parent unless they're like, yeah, that's fine anyways.
Yeah, no, people are saying that the girlfriend needs to not be insecure because it was just a question about medicine.
Oh, yeah.
Like, let's say you were with a doctor. You guys broke up.
Mm-hmm.
And then you needed to ask him about a certain question. Because he's a doctor. He would know more than you would, probably.
I would hope so.
It depends on what it is. Depending on, like, what speciality he is.
Mm-hmm.
Am I the a-hole for telling my mom I don't care if she feels bad that I'm divorcing my husband? I mean...
Okay.
I'm not even reading the entire thing just yet, but me personally, no. It's your choice. It's your marriage.
Yeah. It's your life.
I don't know if that was Vina or my dogs.
No, that sounded like either Luna or May.
My husband and I share 2 daughters together. Oh, they're the nicest kids ever. My husband and I have been together since I was 19. We got married when I was 19. This is what it seems. I was 19, he was 20. This is an arranged marriage my parents wanted me to be in. His parents also wanted this. Mind you, I was 19 thinking about college, not marriage. Yes, it's crazy that arranged marriages still happen. Sometimes it can be good for some people, but I'm not happy. Before I even knew my husband, I was in love with someone else. It was a person I knew since kindergarten. My husband really wasn't nice to me in the beginning. I slept with other women. I didn't mind it because I didn't love him. And it didn't bother me when he did what he wanted. We both agreed that we can talk to whoever we wanted before we even had kids. But now he's changed. He's apologized for everything he's done to me and actually puts in the effort. I will say in between our marriage, it was hard because my husband got into a car accident and got a concussion. He couldn't move, so he had to get therapy. He can walk again, but he has a limp. I was caring for him all by myself, and I forgot to take care of me. Every day, he puts flowers everywhere around the house, always leaving love letters. I can't lie, and I say he isn't a good father. The girls mostly are attached to him. I want to feel free again. My mom is from the older generation, so she has a different mindset. I wish it was fake, but in this reality, you know how much I wished I had dreamed the life. I wish I had the life I dreamed of. That was hard. My parents are both in arranged marriages. When she was 17, my dad was 26. Holy. My mom believed,
Dang. That took me a second.
Mom believed that I would be happier to be a wife with kids. And I'm not. I love my kids, but I never wanted kids. I wanted to be an engineer, but my mother didn't think that was good for women. Women should obey their husbands, cook and clean, be a baby machine. I've been looking at colleges because maybe it's not too late. My husband agrees that I should do it if I feel like it. A divorce has been on my mind, and I can't help it. I'm just thinking about all the things I can do instead of being a SAHM.
Sham?
It's all caps, SAHM. That cooks and clean all day. My mother, stay-at-home house mom. That's what it means. That cooks and clean all day. That's why.
Yep.
My mother called me because my husband told her I haven't been acting like myself. I need to act like a woman, she said. I think my mom sees me as an object, not a woman. That's when I told her for real reason, because I've been keeping it in for months. I told her I've been thinking about a divorce. That's when she got upset. She went on about the kids, that my husband would feel sad, especially since his mom passed. She told me she feels bad because all I'm doing is complaining. She never takes my side or tries to take care of me. She cares about everyone else but me. I told her I didn't care if she felt bad about it. She told me I need to smart and not an a-hole.
Need to what? Okay.
The very bottom sentence. That's not proper English, but I don't think English is their first language.
Yeah, I don't think English is their first language either.
Because in the States, I don't know anyone that does arranged marriages.
Well, some cultures still do. I couldn't name them offhand.
I'm talking like born and bred English speakers typically don't. That's Lena. I think she can see Vina.
Probably.
You have anything to say to that one?
Not really. I mean, I don't feel like I can really say a whole lot towards arranged marriages because I'm not part of a culture that has arranged marriages. I feel like you shouldn't be treated like you're just an object, and you should be able to do what you wanted to do and pursue your dreams and not have to be this traditional housewife if you don't want to be. But if you want to be, you can. Like, I don't see a problem either way. I just think you should do what makes you the most happy, regardless of how other people feel about it. As long as you're happy, that's what matters. It's your life, not theirs.
The last two stories, like, they're not safe for work. They can give you stories. I'm like,
Oh, okay, yeah, we don't need that.
No, unless I was like, unless I started reading, but they're both like maybe half a paragraph long. So I can see the comments underneath them, like, why are they so short? I read them, like, yeah, no. Click another one. Yeah, no. Am I the a-hole for telling my partner I may leave if we don't get engaged this year? Am I the a-hole? Okay, yeah. That's just saying exactly what the topic said. I, 27F, have been with my boyfriend, 26M, for 3.5 years, and we've been living together since June, about 7 months now. Alright, to start, let me say before, today we're both on the same page about getting engaged this year. He even asked my dad for my hand. A few weeks ago, we bought a car for my dad in NC and drove it up to where we live in NY before heading down. I told him it would be a good time for him to ask my dad for my hand, since we see my dad once every 1 to 2 years. I figured, who knows when's the next time we'll see my dad for him to be able to ask in person. Before starting our road trip back up north, we asked my dad for my hand. Or he asked my dad for my hand. This morning, we went out for Valentine's Day since we both worked the day of and that weekend. Mind you, we were supposed to go out Friday night, but that totally did not work out. We haven't been seeing eye to eye recently, but the great thing about us is that we always come to a solution and are able to talk things out. today after brunch, I was talking about rings and talking about engagement stuff. And eventually he told me he doesn't want to get engaged this year, that he felt forced to start getting prepared for engagement. I will say we've had a tough start, but we definitely have built a strong foundation. We love each other very much. He says he doesn't want to get engaged because I haven't graduated school yet or have a good job. That's the reason, which I feel is so unfair. I'm supposed to graduate next year with my bachelor's. It's taken me a while because I'm paying for school myself, also while working part-time and paying rent and bills. When I asked him what he would do if, for whatever reason, I don't graduate next year, he said I wouldn't propose until I do, which I just think is ridiculous. So now we're both upset with each other because we can't see eye to eye on this. I told him I feel like I deserve to feel like it's an appropriate time and age for us to get engaged. I even told him it could be a long engagement, wait till I finish school to get married, but he still said no. He said he feels he's not ready and basically too mature. He's got a good career and I'm going into nursing. I do so much for him, like on some wifey level. But yeah, man, I told him I deserve more, and it's not fair to not want to propose to me because I don't have a great degree or a great full-time job.
So, what I've noticed with men, they typically like to be more financially secure and have more stable positions in life before...
I heard the video you were watching with Steve Harvey earlier, where you guys have a maternal clock and men have financial clocks. We're not ready to do something until we're financially ready.
Yeah.
Or we think we're financially ready.
Which is fine, but it's just really a conversation. It's just a conversation to have and be like, hey, I want to understand why you want it to be this way, why you want to wait, because to me, I feel like we're in a good position and it's been long enough. Rather than me assuming anything, I want to know your reasoning entirely.
But would you leave someone because they weren't proposing to you in that year?
If that was the plan and they couldn't give me a good reason except for what was said, yeah.
Because, I mean, if they're talking about, like, February of this year, because it was posted 2 hours ago whenever I read it, then that means for that year, so they have till the end of 2025.
Mm-hmm.
So things could change by then.
Mm-hmm. If they couldn't give me a reason and they wouldn't even think about it, then I would feel like they would want to compromise with me. And that they don't care about what I want.
This one has technically an update. So, am I the a-hole for breaking up with my boyfriend even though he did nothing wrong? Here's the thing. I loved Liam. Maybe not in the way I was supposed to or the way he deserved, but I did. He was kind, reliable, steady, the kind of person anyone would be lucky to have. But somewhere along the way, I started feeling hollow. There was no big fight, no betrayal, no more moment where everything shattered. Just a slow, creeping realization that something was missing, and worse, that it had been missing for a long time. I would tell him about something that lit me up inside, something that made my heart race, and he would nod. A small smile, a polite, distant acknowledgement, and that was it. He wasn't cruel, he wasn't dismissive, but he didn't see me, not the way I needed to be seen. At first, I convinced myself it was okay. Not everyone has to be loud with love. Not everyone has to match my fire with their own. But over time, I started pulling back. I stopped finishing my sentences. I stopped sharing the little pieces of myself that felt too delicate to be met with indifference. And slowly, without even realizing it, I started to disappear. I tried to make it work. I asked for more time, more connection, more something. But he was always busy. And the truth is, people make time for what matters to them. I know he cared about me, but I also knew I was never going to be the thing he fought for. And then there was the future. My dreams, ones I had carried with me since I was in college, didn't fit into the life he saw for himself, and his world, and his traditions, his family. They would never make space for me as I am, and I wouldn't and he wouldn't fight for that either, I assume. So I did the only thing that made sense. I let go. I told him the truth, that love, no matter how much he wanted it to be, wasn't enough. That sometimes two good people still don't fit. That I wasn't willing to shrink myself to make things work. And now I'm the villain to some of our friends. He was the good guy. You could have tried harder. Not every relationship is firework and passion, and maybe they're right. Maybe I was impatient. Maybe I was selfish. But if staying meant losing myself, wasn't leaving the only choice, so am I the a-hole?
No. Sometimes people just don't work out, and they're better off as friends, and that's just how it is. Usually, especially with women, they need at least one of their love languages to be reciprocated. At least one of them. And if they're not, and it's just, you shouldn't make someone, you can't force a square to fit in a circle. Just won't work.
You can, it just might break the circle.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Without breaking anything, you cannot.
That's what I'm saying, like, you can force it, it won't be the same.
So, y'all just weren't meant to be, and that's totally fine. There's absolutely there's nothing wrong with that.
Alright, so edit. Hey everyone, it's me, 23F, and I just wanted to take a moment to say thank you for all the kind comments and support. Honestly, reading them has made me feel so much more at peace and understood. I also wanted to let you know that Liam, 24M, is doing well. He was also on board with the decision and is feeling calm about everything. It's been a process, but knowing that there are people who understand and support us makes all the difference. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Also, I just want to clarify that my friends aren't bad or anything like that. It's just that the decision took them by surprise since our relationship was actually really healthy. So it was unexpected for everyone. I understand the reaction and I know it's coming from a place of care. And even the crazier update, they got back together.
I mean, nothing wrong with that.
That's just, it legit says crazy update. We got back together.
I'm scared to do this.
Why?
The tiny writing.
Oh yeah, especially doing it backwards.
I didn't even take that into account. Uh-oh.
At least I think it's going to be backwards because of your reflection.
Mm-hmm.
So it'd probably be, try writing it out first on your face, and I can tell you it's backwards. Because on your phone it'd also be backwards.
Because, okay, so that would be... That'd probably be for you?
Yeah.
Wow, that's weird.
Because you can't look at your phone for it either, because that would also be backwards.
Yep. I'm just gonna go caps. Just so you guys can see what I'm doing.
Not lined up correctly, but...
No, but I'm just trying to see how they're supposed to...
That's not really fun to do tiny.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to do something else.
Because I can tell you weren't really trying for that.
No.
That's correct. And...
Okay, so it's...
Yeah.
Oh, this is weird.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I could just turn my hand like this and write it correctly.
Here's the thing. You gotta actually do it looking through the mirror.
As long as I can see what God damn, say what it looks like, I should be fine. Let me find the other brush I have real quick. Of course, it's so much. What is that? There we go.
Hopefully that's tiny.
It is. I'm just gonna fast forward through this whole
Yeah, like seconds. Or even fast forward to writing B-E-M.
Yeah, see, this is a lot smaller.
Try writing it real quick on your arm so you can see how tiny it's going to be. You have like two tiny hearts that you have to fill in.
I don't have to. I don't like still red. But
Just use
there
it
we
to
go.
wipe it off.
I put it on the floor.
I'm probably sitting in red.
Well, yours red was the last.
And now it's black for some reason.
Put it with a black eyeliner. The writing is going to be hard enough as is, so I will be right back when I'm done. And I'm back with the finished look. I did not put writing on all of them because the writing was already very difficult to do for it to be facing the correct way. I don't think it's facing the correct way for you guys. I can't tell. But I did my best. Not my favorite look. Not the worst look I've ever done. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. I will see you guys next time. Bye!